Zafiko, and requested each honorable member to collect 32 seedlings of for planting in their constituencies from 10 to 40, from 10:40 to 11 hours, and from 13 hours to 14:30 hours in the Eastern Car Park at Parliament grounds.
And that announcement was followed by a ruling that was rendered by the Honorable Madam Speaker. And in this ruling, she reminded the House that on Friday, 8th December 2023, when Mr. J. Chibuye, Member of Parliament for Ron constituency, was asking a question on a point of clarification on the statement delivered by the Honorable Her Honor the Vice President, Mrs. W.K. Nalumango MP, on the accident that occurred in Chingola, Mr. Aram Tale, Member of Parliament for Chitambo, raised a point of order as to whether Her Honor the Vice President was in order to accuse the Members of Parliament, the members of the Patriotic Front Party, of being criminals without verifying the matter. And Madam Speaker, having reviewed the evidence of what transpired on the material day, ruled that the point of order was not raised contemporaneously and therefore was inadmissible.
After that ruling, the House did proceed to consider two matters of urgent public importance, and the first one came from Mr. Davison Mungandu, and this one was on the measures being taken to reduce incidences of human-animal conflict in Chama South parliamentary constituency, and this matter was inadmissible.
The other matter was raised by Mr. Katakwe Alex, Member of Parliament for Solwezi East, and he raised a point of order, matter of urgent public importance on the measures being taken to ensure that the motorists conform to road traffic rules, and this matter was also inadmissible.
There was one ministerial statement that was considered on the floor of the House on that particular day, and this one was presented by the Minister of Technology and Science, and this ministerial statement was on the initiatives being undertaken to enhance internet connectivity countrywide, and briefed the House on the acquisition of Starlink internet kits and one of the strategies being taken to enhance access to internet connectivity countrywide. And we did see quite a number of members of Parliament making follow-up, seeking clarity from the Minister by making follow-up questions.
After that ministerial statement, the House considered questions for oral answer number 164 and 165, Understanding Order 74. And there was a government bill that was presented, and this is the Constituency Development Fund Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2021 of 2023. And the object of the bill is to provide for the decentralization of the management, disbursement, and utilization and accountability of constituency development funds, amongst the many.
Two reports were considered on the floor of the House. The first one came from the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply, and the other one was from the Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services, and these two reports were adopted.
And the day after, the House adjourned sine die at 12:53 hours. And we take a short break. After that, we give you what is on the order paper for today.
All right, we need to proceed and look at what is expected to be considered on the floor of the House today. We know all eyes are glued to Parliament television and on our Facebook page. That is the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page. We're glad that you could find time to be with us after this long break. But we are glad that you're also following the committees that we are sitting from December. Pauline, let's shift our attention and look at what is expected to be considered on today's order paper.
Yes, today, Tuesday, 13th February 2024, business resumes at 14:30 hours. As we can see, the members of Parliament actually are already ready for business of the day. And we have 15 questions that are on the order paper for today, expected to be discussed on the floor of the House. And one of the questions is coming from Mufumwe Member of Parliament, Mr. Elliot Kamondo, and he wants to find out from the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources what means the government is taking to ensure easy acquisition of certificates of title in rural areas.
The other question is question 170, which will come from Mr. Chonde, Milenge Member of Parliament, directing his question to the Minister of Energy. The member would like to find out whether the government has any plans to construct a hydropower station at Mutumbuta Falls in Milenge Parliamentary constituency. If so, when the plans will be implemented, what the estimated cost of the project is, and how much power the station is estimated to generate when operationalized.
And we have a question coming from Lufugu Member of Parliament, Mr. Wesley Kolala. He wants to find out from Her Honor, the Vice President, whether the government has any plans to relocate the country's capital from Lusaka, which is very congested, to Ngawe district, and if so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no plans, why?
In Western Province, Mitete constituency to be precise, Member of Parliament Mr. Mutalo would like to ask the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development why the construction of Mitete Boarding Secondary School in Mitete District has stalled, when the works will resume, and what the time frame for the completion of the project is.
And coming from Kanchivia, Member of Parliament Mr. Sande Chanda, he wants to find out from the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development whether government has any plans to construct a modern bus station in Kanchivia district, and if so, when the plans will be implemented, and what the estimated cost of the project will be, and if there are no plans, why?
Mr. Chisanga, who is Lukasha Member of Parliament, will ask the question to the Minister of Health when the construction of health centers in the following wards in Lukasha Parliamentary constituency will resume, and these are Chiva, Kapulula and Musowa. And the blue part of the question, what the cause of the delay in completing the project is, and what the estimated time frame for the completion of the project is.
Yes, you are watching Parliament Television, and business of the House resumes today, day 13, 23. And right now what we are seeing is the pictures of the Honorable Madam Speaker's procession as they make their way through to the House. Just now we cross over to the floor of the House. Good afternoon.
Order.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of wealth and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom's fight for one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, passion with and led by God to men. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, 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 green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Order. Honorable members, I have one announcement to make, and this is to the effect that, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that following the ongoing cholera pandemic in the country, the Ministry of Health has advised that members, staff, and visitors to Parliament should observe the following guidelines as the House reconvenes for the second meeting of the third session of the 13th National Assembly. 1. Observe strict adherence to hygienic measures. 2. Avoid overcrowding. 3. Avoid handshakes. 4. Seek immediate medical attention for any illness observed. And 5th, those with a cough or flu should be masked to cover their nose and mouth. For the foregoing measures are meant to control cholera and other waterborne diseases, as well as the COVID-19 and other respiratory diseases. I thank you. Business statement. Her Honor the Vice President.
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that the House Business Committee met on Friday, 9th February 2024 to determine and schedule the business of the House for the period 13th to 23rd February 2024. Before I get into the business the House is scheduled to consider in the next 2 weeks, I wish to take this opportunity to welcome all honorable members to this august House. I hope honorable members had a restful festive period. Let me now turn to the business of the House. The committee resolved to lay before the House the following business for consideration. A. Announcements. The Honorable Madam Speaker may make announcements to the House on any day when it is necessary to do so. B. Rulings. The Honorable Madam Speaker may render rulings if there will be any. C. Ministerial statements. Honorable ministers may render ministerial statements if there will be any. D. Private members' motions. The Honorable Member for Petauke Central constituency will present the following motion during the period. Honorable Emmanuel J. Banda, subject will be increase the quantity of farming inputs for farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program. This will be presented on the 21st February 2024. E. Parliamentary Committee Reports. The following committee reports will be considered during the period. Name of committee, Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources. This will be on the performance audit report of the Auditor General on the implementation of the Farmer Input Support Program 2018 to 2022. This will be on 15th February 2024. Another committee report is on health, community development and social services. This is on the performance audit report of the Auditor General on the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases in Zambia 2017 to 2022. This will be on 16th February 2024. The other one is energy, water development and tourism. This is on the performance audit report of the Auditor General on the sustainable management of water resources in Zambia 2019 to 2022. Another committee will be national security and foreign affairs. This will be on the performance audit report of the Auditor General on the rehabilitation and the reintegration of prisoners in Zambia. This will be on the 21st of February 2024. Questions F. Honorable Ministers will respond to 78 questions for oral answer as set out hereunder. The details of the questions are contained in the notices of questions already circulated to all honorable members. The questions on standby to replace questions that may not be placed on the order paper on the designated day for one reason or another are as set out hereunder. Questions on standby are 278, Home Affairs 290, Finance 280, Health 282, Defense 284, Infrastructure 287, Health 288, Transport 293, Education 98, Local Government and 116, Fisheries. G, Her Honor the Vice President question time. Every Friday, Her Honor the Vice President will respond to spontaneous questions asked by honorable members. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the House Business Committee and in accordance with the Standing Order 189, subsection 5 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders,
Order, honorable ministers there on the front bench.
Of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2021, I have the pleasure to present the business of the next 2 weeks to this august House. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item is matters of urgent public importance. I've seen there's a lot of interest, but just as a reminder, the House Business Committee had resolved that we can only attend to 3 matters of urgent public importance on each particular day. But being the first day, I will see how we proceed. If things go well, we'll allow a few more, but if they don't go well, then we move to the next item. But it's nice to see you all. You look well rested. Only that honorable Minister for Science and Technology, I didn't see wow when I went to the constituency. So those antennas and this Starlink, please, can you move fast on that? That's an appeal. So let's go to my constituency is the whole of Zambia. So let's get to the first person who has indicated, the honorable member for Petauke Central. What's your matter of urgent public importance?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the good people of Petauke this opportunity to raise a matter of urgent public importance. Madam Speaker, I'll be very unfair to all honorable members if I go on without welcoming them. Welcome all of you members. And also welcome.
Order, honorable member. Please, the manner of speaking. Please, can you remove your hands from your pocket?
It's here.
Yes. Please stand yes, that is better. Proceed.
And also the Member of Parliament from Ghana, you are welcome and congratulations for that movement, Ichawaiche. That's brave members we want. Thank you. Madam Speaker, the matter is directed to Her Honor, the Vice President. Madam Speaker, in Petauke, as we are talking right now, people, I don't know what they're even thinking. There is too much hunger. We don't have food in Petauke. Even in shops, we don't have mini meal because Petauke, I don't know whether it's a foreign country, as it's called Petauke, some other people, but I don't know whether it's a foreign country because it's not allowed even to order mini meal from Lusaka, taking it to Petauke. Madam Speaker, His Honor, the Vice President, in order. Even last Sunday she was in church praying that each and every citizen in our country, they're supposed to have food on the table. For them even to work, for them even to do anything, they're supposed to eat first. Madam Speaker, His Honor the Vice President, in order to sit quietly while the people in Petauke, they are dying with hunger. They are dying with hunger, and it's in order also not even to declare the national hunger disaster, so that other people, well-wishers, even other government, other countries, they can help Zambia.
Order, honorable member for Petauke. There is a point of order from the honorable Minister of Local Government. What's the point of order?
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Proceed, honorable Minister.
I'm rising on order number 65 on the submission by a colleague, Member of Parliament for Petauke, who has said on the floor of this House that people in Petauke have died as a result of hunger without adducing any evidence to suggest that what he's saying is the position. Is it therefore
Order, honorable
it doesn't
member
pay
for
to
Petauke.
get the title of the rude boy of the day, because I'm raising a very pertinent matter here. He said people have died of hunger without adducing evidence of those who have lost their lives as a result of hunger. I seek a ruling on this matter, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Local Government. Honorable Member for Petauke, do you have any evidence to show that people have died in Petauke Central have died out of hunger? If you do, please, can you lay it on the table?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, well guided, and the evidence is overwhelming. If Madam Speaker, you can allow you as a speaker and all of us, if we can go to the mortuary in Petauke.
Order. The question is, if you have If you have the evidence, please lay it on the table. If you don't have the evidence, then by way of guidance, honorable members, as we raise matters of urgent public importance, let's be factual. Let's state facts which can be verifiable. Let's not alarm the nation and make statements which cannot be substantiated. So to the effect that the honorable member for Petauke did state that people have died in Petauke Central out of hunger, he is out of order because he has got no evidence to substantiate his statement. Please, as you proceed, honorable member, just bear in mind that we have other members who would also want to raise matters of urgent public importance. So please be precise, to the point, as you raise your matters of urgent public importance. I think, can you wind up?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the good people of Petauke, they feel to be very unfairly because, Madam Speaker, there's no one who can bring a dead body as evidence to this house.
Order. Honorable member for Petauke, you are now out of order because you are now challenging the ruling of the presiding officer. We have heard your matter of urgent public importance. I think you have raised it sufficiently. Yes, can you wind up then? Don't bring in extraneous issues.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I was saying, is Her Honor the Vice President in order to sit quietly as a church leader who is supposed to make sure that the children, and as a mother, who is supposed to make sure that before even leaving the house, the children, they have got food on the table. I don't know, maybe if it was the rich, the way
Order, honorable member.
are.
Order. Order, order, honorable member. Honorable member for Petauke, please do not debate your matter of urgent public importance. I requested you to wind up. You have made sufficient ground raising your matter of urgent public importance. Just wind up, please.
As I'm winding up, Madam Speaker, thank you. Madam Speaker, I don't know if it was for the rich, the way we are in a hurry even changing our standing orders, but to look at the hunger which is going on in the country, we are just quiet, Madam Speaker.
Order.
I submit. Thank you.
Don't invite me to use Standing Order 208. Her Honor the Vice President, would you want to say something or make a statement or comment on the points that the Honorable Member for Petauke Central has raised?
Madam, it is difficult for me to respond to this question. It has too many things totally unrelated. The Honorable may come with evidence. That's an alarming statement, and we need to get what he's saying. For now, no comment until we hear how many people have died in Petauke from hunger.
Thank you very much. So, Honorable Member for Petauke, please bring the evidence before a sufficient response can be provided to your matter of urgent public importance. Let's make progress. The Honorable Member for Kamfisa.
Madam Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to raise an urgent matter of public importance, and seeing that the Minister of Finance is not available today, allow me to direct this urgent matter to our Honor the Vice President. Madam Speaker, it is the desire of the people of Kamfinsa, as well as the wider majority of our country, that our economy performs to allow for economic activities to take place. And it is for this reason, Madam Speaker, that I wish to direct this matter to our Honor the Vice President. Madam Speaker, you are aware that In the last few weeks, the central bank has adjusted the statutory reserve ratio to 26%. Madam Speaker, you are also aware that currently inflation stands at 13.1%, and I'm sure, Madam Speaker, you are aware through the Bank of Zambia that the current exchange rate is currently around 27 kwacha against the dollar. Madam Speaker, is I honor the Vice President, leader of government business, in order not to come to this August House to allay fears that the economy will continue degrading to the extent that it will affect various factors that are affecting our people in Zambia. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. I also live in Zambia. From what I've seen from the papers, this matter is ongoing. So if the Honorable Member for Kamfisa would like to have the issue attended to, I would suggest that he puts in a question. Then the Honorable Minister of Finance will be able to provide the answer, because the issue that the Honorable Member has raised is not of recent occurrence, it's ongoing. The next, the Honorable Member for Lumezi.
Madam Speaker, my matter of urgent public importance is directed at Her Honor the Vice President. Your Honor, it's nice seeing you after a while. Madam Speaker, before we went on recess, this country had witnessed an increase in groups calling themselves Umodzi Kumawa, ministers from this current government that originate from Eastern Province went on camera at a hotel to condemn and give their opinion on the Umodzi Kumawa. When the Kola Foundation was mentioned, ministers that of Bemba speaking went on camera, gave their opinion on what Kola Foundation is all about. Madam Speaker, most recently, this country has witnessed the secessionist group of people from Barotse land, and then speaking as a person that is always on social platforms, I take judicial notice that none of the members of parliament or ministers of Barotse speaking languages have given an opinion on this sensitive matter that threatens the state of our security as a country, knowing very well that we are a unitary state as espoused by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia. Madam Speaker, I'm directing this matter to honor the Vice President because the silence is too loud. We've seen some members' videos going around being harassed. Your members, Madam Speaker, by the way, sitting members of parliament, we've seen videos all over platforms, almost being beaten, being asked to enter a province that is part of Zambia with a passport. Passport from where? Madam Speaker, we need the position of the government on the issue of Barotse land. I submit. Thank you.
Oh, that's the problem of following too much social media. Because what was on social media there's not even an iota of truth in that. The issue of Barotse land is an ongoing matter, it's an old matter. And if you were following the press yesterday, the Honorable Minister of Information was saying that there's quiet diplomacy that is ongoing. People are discussing the issue of Umodzi Kumawa. It's not of a recent occurrence. The issues, Honorable Member, you have raised, they are not of recent occurrence. They are issues that, if we start concentrating on, are bound to bring division. As you have rightly said, Zambia is a unitary state. So let's not bring those issues to this Honorable August House. Let's leave it to the government to attend to it as they see fit. And they are attending to it. When they resolve, I'm sure the Honorable House and the people of Zambia through this House will be informed accordingly. So that is not a matter that can be admitted. The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The matter that I wish to bring is directed to Her Honor, the Vice President.
You may proceed. I'm sure people missed Her Honor, the Vice President. Everything is directed at her.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think the reason why it's being directed to Her Honor, the Vice President, is because it falls under DMMU, and that is the ministry that sits directly under
You may
her
proceed,
office.
Honorable Member. I was just making a comment because all the matters have been raised against Her Honor, the Vice President. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Her Honor, the Vice President, firstly, I would want to offer sincere condolences to the people who have died due to cholera during this time when we were on recess. The matter that I would like to bring to your attention, Her Honor, the Vice President, is the issue to do with crossing points which have been washed away in my constituency. There's Bokosi, there is Kahuji, there's Mankaka. We have written to your office during this time when we were on recess. Her Honor, the Vice President, the delay to work on those crossing points is causing children to fail to go to school. Madam Speaker, the people of Lundazi sent me to seek for your urgent intervention, as this is a matter which is really affecting them. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I suggest you put in a question because that is a specific question relating to a specific area which I believe Her Honor, the Vice President, might not have an answer right now. So please put in a question. The issue of bridges being washed away because of the rain season, although now there is no rain. It's a pity. Yesterday I was even watering my maize just to make sure we cover for that. So you can put in a question. I will take two more in the order of indication. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
A very happy new year to you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to join all men and women of goodwill who promote one Zambia and one nation. This, Madam Speaker, is the only sure way for our country to remain stable. Madam Speaker, my matter of urgent public importance is directed to the Minister of Information and Media, who said the following words, and I quote, "We worked well with Mr. Chimbaka Mbwiri. That is why he did not go to PF with his party. He left it and he said, remain here. Me, I will just go and continue issuing tribal remarks so that the person I am representing can be hated by the citizens." End of paraphrased quote. Madam Speaker, a government minister represents the entire country, and when the minister spoke, I was alarmed because I tend to think tribalism is a bad project for anyone. But here, from this statement, I quickly realized that tribalism is good if it promotes UPND and the hatred of PF. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member, Honorable Member for Lunte order. Do not give your opinions or debate your question. Just ask the question. Don't put in insinuations which will make something that you are asking, even if it was serious or you wanted to make it appear serious, it will wash it down. It will water it down. So just stick to the question. What's the question?
My question, Madam Speaker, is Is it UPND policy, the UPND government's policy to promote tribalism? If that tribalism is meant to destroy the political image of PF, and to condemn those who may seem to promote it if it goes back to dent the UPND government. I seek your direction, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Clearly, that issue does not fall under matters of urgent public importance. If you want to ask this question, Honorable Member, you can put in a question or bring in a motion so that people can be able to debate and express their views. But again, on a serious note, I don't know if we should debate issues of tribalism in this House. I think we are beyond and above tribal issues. So maybe you can confront each other outside, not in the House. You can discuss politics outside, not in the House. So let's make progress. The last matter of urgent public importance will come from the Honorable Member Fonkana.
Madam Speaker, food security is expected to be a matter of priority for any government, because food insecurity is a source of chaos in any part of the world, Madam Speaker. You are aware this country, Madam Speaker, is experiencing serious droughts in many parts of the country. 2 days, if not 3 days ago, Madam Speaker, irate members of the community in Chirirabombwe impounded trucks labeled Jumbo Milling, which trucks were ferrying Zambian meal into Congo. Madam Speaker, my matter of urgent public importance is directed to the Minister of Agriculture. Today, as we speak, Madam Speaker, trucks are ferrying fertilizer and seed into the northern province, Muchinga and Luapula. I met those trucks yesterday on my way from Luapula. Madam Speaker, is the Minister of Agriculture in order to sit quietly there? I know he's not aware of so many things happening in his ministry, including the importation of GMO.
Order. Honorable Member for Fonkana, please stick to your matter of urgent public importance. Do not start debating and pointing, accusing fingers. Just raise your matter of urgent public importance. Thank you.
Very well guided, Madam Speaker. Is the Minister of Agriculture in order to sit when this country is facing a looming food crisis owing to the drought and now the late delivery of farming inputs, February today, that's when farming inputs are being delivered, then allowing the export of meal into Congo, Madam Speaker, at such a time as this? Is he in order? I seek your indulgence, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture is here. Would you like to say something, or you would want to issue a ministerial statement? The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And greetings to all the colleagues, honorable members who are here. Madam Speaker, I wish to state in very, very clear terms that in as far as the government FISIP program is concerned, all the seed and all the fertilizer for Luapula and other parts of the country were delivered on time, actually, Madam Speaker, before the House rose. I would, however, be very happy if the honorable member could show me proof that the fertilizer that he saw and the seed that he saw moving is fertilizer on a government program. I would, however, encourage the members to be very, very careful when you see inputs moving across the country, because it's not only the government that is involved in these programs. Most of the fertilizer companies have their own programs which they are running supporting farmers. Most of the cooperating partners and other institutions have their own programs which they are distributing. I want to repeat as I sit that inputs for Luapula, which the honorable member is talking about, were delivered on time, way before the House rose. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. As per practice, since the Honorable Minister has made a statement, I will allow a few questions. The Honorable Member Fonkana, do you have a follow-up question?
Madam Speaker, I have a follow-up question, except that the Minister has chosen to cherry-pick the matter and only address the issues of the farming inputs. There's also the issue of export. I want to address my question to the issue of export. Jumbo Milling and some other milling companies
Okay,
are exporting.
maybe for purposes of order, some kind of order in the House, it might be necessary for the Honorable Minister to come back to the House with a ministerial statement so that he can address all those issues. There were three areas: the movement of the farming implements, the issue of the mealie meal going to the Congo, and the third item was the alleged GMO, which is going somewhere. So the Honorable Minister can come to the House, back to the House when? The clerks at the table? Thursday. Honorable Minister, this Thursday, will you be ready to come back to the House?
No, Madam Speaker, because they're saying yes, so I say no. I can do it next week.
Okay, let's do it on Friday, Tuesday next week. Tuesday next week. Thank you. So I think that brings us to a close of our matters of urgent public importance. Apologies, we couldn't extend it further. It's already 15:08, and we have some more business on the order paper. Being the first day, I exercise my discretion to allow members to ask to raise more matters of urgent public importance. We make progress. Question for oral answer, understanding order 74. The Honorable Member for Mufumbwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The people of Mufumbwe are asking question number 166.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Kamondo, Member of Parliament for Mufumbwe, would like the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, A, what measures the government is taking to ensure acquisition of certificate of title in rural areas. The response, Madam Speaker, in A is, government has taken the following measures to ensure easy acquisition of the title deeds in rural areas. 1, promoting and ensuring efficient cost-effective payment for issuance of certificates of title through national land titling programs across the country. The program is aimed at bulk production of certificates of title and provides a relief to landowners as payment is staggered within 3 years. 2, intensified efforts through nationwide sensitization on registration of eligible properties across the country. 3, in line with decentralization policy, the ministry decentralized and operationalized the deeds registry in Chipata, Choma, and Lusaka districts, whilst the Solwezi and the Cabo registries were gazetted awaiting operationalization. 4. Strengthen the registration for land, registration and production of certificates of title by providing for electronic lodgement, registration and update of documents. In this regard, the Ministry, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, National Planning, Smart Zambia Institute, and .gov Solutions have deployed and developed a new automated computerized system, the Zambia Integrated Land Administration System, called ZILAS, for improved, effective, and efficient service delivery. 5. In line with the Land Development Fund, the Ministry continues to allocate funds to local authorities to number identified sites, beacon, and produce survey diagrams in proposed developmental areas, water reticulation, open up access roads, and electrification. All these services are meant to ease the burden and enhance issuance of offer letters and certificates of title in rural areas. 6. Dissemination of information relating to procedures and benefits of acquiring certificates of titles in rural areas. 7. Devolving more functions to the provinces in order to be more efficient. In this regard, marking off and numbering of site plans are now being done at provincial offices. And lastly, 8, the Ministry, in collaboration with Office of the Vice President, Department of Resettlement, are processing for issuance of certificates of title in all resettlement schemes across the country. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Mufumbwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, through you, the biggest problem that people in the rural areas have been facing is because the offices where these titles and certificates are supposed to be gotten from are very far. And as you may be aware, a place like Mufumbwe, which is almost like 3 constituencies, it has been a problem. And now the Minister, I appreciate that the offices are also going to be put in the provincial centers for acquisition of these titles. Don't you think that it will also be prudent to make sure that these offices are also taken closer to the people, and especially Mufumbwe, because some areas are too far from actually the provincial headquarters?
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much for that follow-up question by Honorable Kamondo. It's my pleasure indeed today to say in this modern world, you don't need an office in Mufumbwe. What you just need is a smartphone. The whole process has been through electronic, digitized. That's why we are now going on the programs, and recently I've been to other provinces, educating the people on how to access these services. You just need a phone, Madam Speaker. Under the phone, you go to a portal, ZAM portal. You can do your payments, either Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel. And if all papers are done accordingly, you can even upload your title deed on there. Moreover, in addition, also we have got registries. As we have said, Choma, Chipata, those are operational. And also Ndola. But very soon, with the money allowing, we shall go up to Solwezi, which is nearer. You can even get a motorbike and go to Solwezi and get your title deed. Madam Speaker, I think that's more than enough.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the question is on the national titling program, if it can be extended to rural areas. one of the requirements through the Ministry of Local Government is that all councils should come up with integrated development plans. It is from these integrated development plans that titling can be done in rural areas. I want to find out if at all you are working together with your counterpart in the Ministry of Local Government to ensure that our people, particularly in rural areas, also have access to these title deeds, because that is the only way, Madam Speaker, they can also become economically empowered, because title deeds are used as collateral. Government is introducing so many good programs to do with the empowerment of our people, and I believe title deeds in rural areas will be critical in this area. Are you working together with your colleague to ensure that preliminary data is generated for the issuance of those title deeds? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable, for that question, follow-up question. Indeed, Minister of Local Government is actually an agent in terms of land matters of Minister of Lands. Right now, Smart Zambia is going around on how we can interface in these issues. As I've said, there will be no need for councils even to go into deep rural areas. What we need to do is just to sensitize our masses throughout the whole country, and how we are thinking of how to provide smartphones to everyone. In addition, we've got also an institution called Medici, which is going into unplanned settlements to give title deeds. They have been in Lusaka, Choma, Copperbelt, Kitwe, and then we have also to route it to other provinces. We have also seen some gaps between how we are working, because at times they are riding on other existing title deeds. We want to iron out that. In quest to answer you, I'm saying yes, what councils do, they do it on behalf of the Minister of Lands. We are ready to work and expand on that. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Member from Mfumbwe, do you have any other question?
No, Madam Speaker, I'm satisfied. The answer is given.
So I'll just take one more question then. The Honorable Member for Bwana Mkubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wanted just to find out from the Minister of Lands, especially that Mfumbwe is a rural area, and the ministry contracted Medici to do the national titling program, in which they were supposed to produce a certain number of titles, and therein they get their commission. So they've basically come up with charges, if I'm not mistaken. There's a 2,200 and 3,200. Now, looking at the people from rural areas, how is the ministry ensuring that they give them incentives to ensure that they acquire these titles? Because some of these fees, even people in not very rural areas are complaining, especially our underprivileged people. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Mwambazi. Medici is supposed actually to produce, in the whole period of 6 years, 4 million title deeds in unplanned settlements. And this includes villages. To get a title deed commercially through Ministry of Lands, it costs more than 3,000. There are a lot of stages. You have site plan, you have the land surveyed. It all costs a lot of money. If I'm not mistaken, not less than 10,000 kwacha. Because even survey services, either private or government, is quite costly. The government came up with a deliberate plan, a program, where Medici can process a title deed in these areas where most people cannot afford for only 3,000 kwacha. 1,000 kwacha goes as commission. 2,000 kwacha spread over 3 years. I'm sure the old lady in Mbara where you ran away from, you can help with the 3,000. 2,000 kwacha is paid immediately. But we are finding it difficult to get that other 2,000. But we are working with banks. We want to see how banks can spread it in small amounts. In the period of 3 years, they can recover that money. The government has heavily subsidized that. And we are assuring you we are working at programs that we can cover the whole entire country. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question, by prior arrangement, I will allow question number 171 to be asked now before we consider question number 167. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Question 171, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And thank you very much, Honorable Member of Kanchivia, Mr. Sande Chanda, who's asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, whether government has any plans to construct a modern bus station in Kanchivia district. At B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. At C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And last but not least, at D, if there are no such plans, he wishes to know why. Madam Speaker, in response to the question raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kanchivia, I wish to inform him and the August House that the government indeed has plans to construct a modern bus station in Kanchivia district under the 2025-2026 annual budget, subject to the availability of funds. At B, the plans will be implemented under the 2025-2026 annual work plan. At C, the estimated cost of each of these projects shall be determined once the designs for the market and bus stations are completed, depending what the going price of the materials will be at that time in not so distant a future. At D, the estimated time frame for completion of these projects shall also be determined once the designs for the modern bus stations are completed. Madam, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and allow me to thank the Honorable Minister. On behalf of the people of Kanchivia, we remain grateful for the hand of cooperation that the Ministry has extended towards Kanchivia, and I would want to take the Minister's word for his bond that come the 2025-2026 budget, the work plan, we will be able to see a modern bus station in Kanchivia. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. It was a comment, so does the Minister want to comment on a comment, or we leave it?
No, in the interest of time, Madam Speaker, I would rather just accept the kind words.
Okay, thank you very much. So we make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Msanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Greetings from the good people of Msanzala. And they are asking question number 167.
The Honorable Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. E. Daka, the Honorable Member of Parliament from Msanzala constituency, has asked the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, A, how many beneficiaries of social cash transfer program were there in Msanzala parliamentary constituency as of March 2023, and B, whether there were any eligible beneficiaries who were not on the program as of the date at March 2023, and C, if so, any, if so, any, or why the eligible beneficiaries
were not on the program. Madam Speaker, I wish to report to the House that there were 4,174 social cash transfer program beneficiaries in Musanzala constituency as at March 2023. This followed a significant increase in the number of beneficiaries on the program from 2,521 beneficiaries as at 31st December 2022. Currently, there are 5,690 households on the social cash transfer program in Musanzala constituency, arising from the 2023 program Scale Up, which increased the number of beneficiaries by 1,516. As to whether there were any eligible beneficiaries who were not on the program as at March 2023, I wish to state to this August House that there were many eligible beneficiaries in Musanzala who were not on the program as at March 2023. Currently, the social cash transfer program only reaches about 80% of all the extremely poor and vulnerable, estimated at 9,606,316. This implies that the social cash transfer program does not reach every poor and vulnerable household in the country, Musanzala parliamentary constituency inclusive. Madam Speaker, in response to why the eligible beneficiaries were not on the program as at March 2023.
The honorable members on my right, please, can we pay attention to what the honorable minister is saying? Otherwise, I'll ask a question. We don't want to embarrass you. May the honorable minister continue.
Madam Speaker, in response to why the eligible beneficiaries were not on the program as at March 2023, I wish to bring to the attention of this House that some eligible beneficiaries were not on the social cash transfer program because the number of beneficiaries to be on the social cash transfer at any given time is determined by budgetary allocation to the program by the Treasury. As at December 2023, the ministry had 1,311,101 households benefiting from social cash transfer program due to the scale up from 1,097,657 in 2022. Consequently, the number of households benefiting from the social cash transfer program has increased. I thank you.
Supplementary questions, the honorable member from Musanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for those numbers and your response. However, I would like to also echo to one cardinal point, Madam Speaker, that those who are on this program, some of them are not very vulnerable, but you leave out the very, very vulnerable people in my constituency. And through you, Madam Speaker, I would like to find out why do we put people who are not vulnerable on this program and leave the poor who are even dying with hunger now that there is this hunger in Musanzala constituency. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Community and Social Services.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for the follow-up question. Yes, indeed. We appreciate that not everyone currently who's on the program is supposed to be there. The reason being that for the past 10 years, they didn't graduate people from this program, and we have gradually started graduating all beneficiaries on social cash transfer, at the same time scaling up and targeting new beneficiaries.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kasenengo.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a question. I pray that my question will be answered, owing to the fact that the question to Honorable Member for Musanzala has not been answered. Madam Speaker, I would want to find out from the Minister if at all they will carry out an audit to make sure that people who are not eligible are removed from the social cash transfer and replace them with the people that are or qualify to be on the program. In so many constituencies, we have a lot of people who are not eligible to be on that program, but they are benefiting from the social cash transfer. Is the Minister going to carry out an audit? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I said that for 10 years, they didn't graduate beneficiaries of social cash transfer. When we went to the ministry in 2021 as the new Dawn government, we started retargeting, and we did find out that one, there were a number of duplicates. As at 2021, we had 656,000 beneficiaries on social cash transfer. Because of the audit exercise, it revealed anomalies. We found that one would register in Monali, at the same time register in Mandevu, maybe register 3-4 times. And because of that audit that we carried out, we had to remove them and put new beneficiaries. At the same time, we have noted that some people who were put on social cash transfer before we took office were not really vulnerable, but we are gradually graduating them from social cash transfer program and placing them on other social protection programs. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Msanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for that response. My question is, now that you are aware that there are some who are not eligible to be on that program, and Madam Speaker, I wanted to come back to you through you that why can't the Minister of Social Development follow the other minister, like Minister of Agriculture, who involve MPs as they are scrutinizing such beneficiaries? Because we are partners in this issue. Why is she not, her office, involving members of parliament in that particular constituencies? Because we are the people who are direct in touch with the very vulnerable. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. There is a hand of help that is being offered by honorable members. So there is a request, Honorable Minister, that when you are evaluating these people, you can involve the members of parliament because they know there are people in the constituency. So maybe you can extend that hand in due time. It's a request. I'm sure that's something that can be done. The Honorable Minister, do you have any comment, Honorable Minister? You can Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, honorable members of this August House would recall that last year, November, my ministry initiated a working breakfast with all members of parliament here so that we extended the invitation to them. And Madam Speaker, out of 116 districts, I have visited, or out of 150 constituencies, I have visited 83 constituencies. And this is how we appreciate the problems that the Honorable Member of Parliament from Zanzala is talking about. I have seen the beneficiaries, and we do appreciate that some of them are not that vulnerable. And leaving out the most people in need who are supposed to be on this program, I submit.
What about the hand that has been offered that they can work with the Honorable Minister to assist?
Madam Speaker, there are stakeholders in the social protection programs that we implement under my ministry, and I welcome that invitation and that suggestion, and please let's get in touch. We'll draw up a program and we'll share also other programs that we're about to unveil in the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last question will be from the Honorable Member for Shuangandu.
Most appreciated, Madam Speaker. My follow-up question to the Honorable Minister pertains to the challenge some of those eligible beneficiaries. I hope the Minister is listening.
The Honorable Minister is listening. I think there was some interruption from the behind there. They were.
Yes,
but the Honorable Minister, you may proceed.
The question pertains to the challenges some of those eligible beneficiaries in Musanzala are facing. Out of that number the Honorable Minister gave, a large number of those beneficiaries are in areas where there is no network, and some of them are visually impaired. Our ministry has decided to start paying those beneficiaries using mobile phones. And Madam Speaker, this has posed a very big challenge to our people who are now have to be forced to move long distances to go and access the little money that is sent to them. And this has exacerbated their suffering. What is your ministry doing, Honorable Minister, to alleviate the challenges that have come with your decision to start paying our vulnerable people using phones in areas where there's no network? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Community Development and Social Services.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, that exercise was arrived at after wide consultations with all the beneficiaries. We started consulting them in January 2022 before implementing the mobile payments in late last year. And all the questionnaires were answered, and most of the beneficiaries opted to be getting money through their phones. But at the same time, when we implemented, a lot of feedback came back, positive and negative feedback. And we sat as a ministry, as at December 31st, some of the beneficiaries were given options as to whether they want to continue receiving their monies through their phones or manually. So that is what we're working at. Next week, we'll start paying social cash transfer. Those who opted to receive cash will be receiving cash. I submit.
Thank you very much. I think the issue is network. Again, as I said when we started, the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, network, please. People are suffering in the rural areas. There is no network. Some places it's only Zamtel and very erratic. So if people are going to be paid through the mobile money, they will have challenges. So we need to address that issue. Thank you very much. Next question, the Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 168.
The Honorable Minister for Energy. Acting Minister for Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member from Pika, Honorable Kapianga, is asking the Minister of Energy the following questions. A, when the government will electrify the following schools in Pika parliamentary constituency: 1, Changalilo Day Secondary, and 2, Katongo Kapaza Primary. B, what the estimated cost of each project is, and C, what the duration of each project is. And the answer is as follows, Madam Speaker. A, the electrification, that's number 1, the electrification of Changalilo Day Secondary School is planned for by the government under the Rural Electrification Master Plan in the year 2029. However, RIA conducted a feasibility study for the electrification of Changalilo and the surrounding areas in June 2023. The electrification could be done even earlier, subject to the availability of funds. The scope involves construction of 30 kilometers of 33 kV overhead line and a total of 13 kilometers of 400-volt overhead line, with 95 estimated total number of initial connections. 2, government through the Rural Electrification Authority, RIA, is scheduled to electrify Katongo Kapala Primary School in Mpika parliamentary constituency in 2024. The project is at the procurement of contract award stage and is set for commencement in April 2024. The scope of the project involves construction of a total of 15.8 kilometers of 33 kV of overhead line and a total of 7.04 kilometers of 400 kilometers overhead line, 400-volt overhead line. Once completed, the project will attract 50 initial service connections. B, the estimated cost for the electrification of Katongo Kapala is 6.9 million kwacha and 24.2 million kwacha for Changalilo Day Secondary School and the surrounding areas. C, the electrification projects for Katongo Kapala and the Changalilo are both expected to last 7 months from the date of contract award. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for the response and the fact that Katongo Kapala has been considered for procurement and electrification. Madam Speaker, I just want to thank the Minister for that step. And also, Honorable Minister, Changalilo is very important because it's in a national park, a North Luangwa National Park. So if electricity is taken there, will boost tourism activities as well as other business activities in the area. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. It was a comment and a word of appreciation for what has been done, so we make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Question 169.
The Honorable Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts, the Acting Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kabwe Central asked the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts whether the ministry has any plans to rehabilitate Venus Theatre Club in Kabwe District, and if so, when the plans will be implemented. And in the last part, Madam Speaker, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in our quest to answer the question, the ministry may wish to notify the House as well as the Member of Parliament that the ministry has no plans to rehabilitate Venus Theatre Club in Kabwe, as the facility in question is fully owned by the Kabwe Municipal Council. In B, Madam Speaker, members of the House and the area Member of Parliament may wish to also note, as stated in answer A, the facility is fully owned by the Kabwe Municipal Council, unless the ministry has no plans on this project. Madam Speaker, C falls off subsequently. Madam Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to actually indicate that indeed, as the ministry, we are looking at opportunities in fostering the arts section of the ministry. And this particular facility is one such facility that can be used for fostering the arts section within the ministry. So we would like to encourage the area Member of Parliament to see ways and means on how they could access funds through the Constituency Development Fund to rehabilitate this particular facility so that it is used for that particular purpose. And the reason why, Madam Speaker, this facility currently is being subleased by the Kabwe Municipal Council to a company called Goshen Milling Company is for purposes of safeguarding it from wear and tear, or as what we call vandalism, as it were. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, Acting, for the answers. I just want to find out, because from the information that I have, that this particular infrastructure, there was a government assurance that the Minister of Sports would renovate Venus Theatre in Kabwe. Is it because of devolution of functions that now is owned by Kabwe Municipal Council, or what? Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Indeed, one of the government assurances from my ministry was to the effect that facilities which are obviously owned by the local authority, especially for youth development, will be devolved to the local authorities. And further on, Madam Speaker, we are also looking for other facilities that will be used as skill centers in the various districts dotted across the country. And we will definitely be looking at opportunities, funds being made readily available to the ministry to actually rehabilitate a facility such as the one which the Honourable Member of Parliament is talking about. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Now that you have indicated indeed that it was of devolution of function that is owned by Kabwe Municipal Council, I understand that when you devolve a function, it goes also with a resource. Can the Minister indicate that you have also given resource in terms of funds to the council to make sure that they renovate it before they can fully take over the infrastructure. Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd just like to make myself very clear. We all realize that the devolution process requires that functions are dealt at the local authority. Most of these facilities, Madam Speaker, you'll agree with me that from time immemorial they've been owned by the local authorities and obviously extended to communities to be run in trust. And one such facility is this same Venus Theatre Club that we're talking about. And indeed, like I've mentioned earlier, Madam Speaker, when funds are made ready available, as our government assurance, we are looking at having to rehabilitate that particular facility. Now, in the absence of the funds we're talking about, Madam Speaker, I would like to encourage the area member of parliament to see how best we could share the meager resources that obviously are there within the CDF fund to be able to run with that. But I must also indicate, Madam Speaker, that we will definitely have a chat with the area member of parliament to see ways and means on where we can find financing to rehabilitate the particular facility. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Next question, the Honorable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 172. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the question asked by Mr. Eolongu. The question asked by...
Maybe it's me who has... I think I've skipped. We are supposed to be on 170. Sorry, Honorable Minister, the fault is mine. I went to the other page. The next question, the Honorable Member for Milenge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 170.
The Honorable Minister, Acting Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Milenge, Honorable Chonde, is asking the Minister of Energy the following questions. A, whether the government has any plans to construct a hydropower station at Mbotuta Falls in Milenge Parliamentary Constituency. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And D, how much power the station is estimated to generate when operationalized. And we answer as follows, Madam Speaker. A, yes, the governments of the Republic of Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, intend to jointly develop the common hydropower sites on the Luapula River, stretching from Mombotuta to Mambilima. B, the project is estimated to commence in 2027 and is expected to be commissioned by 2030. This, however, is dependent on the establishment of the Luapula River Authority, whose implementation process is underway. C, based on the pre-feasibility study report, the Mombotuta project is estimated to cost $513 million to construct. D, based on the pre-feasibility study, the Mombotuta project is estimated to generate, when commissioned, 271 megawatts. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Milenge.
Minister, thank you for your answers. This project is quite historical, and according to the report which was done, the people who did the environmental project assessment and brief, EDF and GBBS, had recommendations that, in their recommendation, they indicated that this project should be up and running by 2028. Could you just shed more light? Why has there been a deferment from this report? I'll submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Acting Honorable Minister for Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for the follow-up question. Just to state that matters that hinge on two countries coming together, usually I can assure him that does take time to finalize. However, an intergovernmental memorandum of understanding between Zambia and the DRC was signed and renewed in 2015, signed in 2015 and renewed in 2022 respectively, for the development of the Mombotuta to Mambirima Luapula River hydro projects. Pre-feasibility studies on the Luapula hydro scheme, comprising one site on the Mombotuta Falls and the two sites on Mambirima Falls, were completed in 2020. Funds required to undertake detailed feasibility studies for the Mombotuta site are estimated at $4.3 million. This is broken down as $1.8 million for technical studies and $2.5 million for environmental studies. About $1.4 million has been secured by ZESCO and SNEL. SNEL is, if you like, the ZESCO of DRC, the power utility company in the DRC. These funds have been secured from the Africa Development Bank, AFDB, for the detailed technical feasibility study for the Mombotuta site. The parties are currently undertaking financial mobilization for the environmental studies, which is expected to be finalized by 2024, which is this year. Now, detailed feasibility studies are scheduled for completion on 2026. Financial closure is planned for 2027 and the commissioning by 2030. So this is a series of steps that need to be taken if you're undertaking a project that is across two countries, not only across two countries, but is funded by multilateral financial institutions such as the African Development Bank. These are steps that require to be taken. But I think the main thing is to say that the steps have started to be taken, and definitely this station will be conducted as the funds for the feasibility studies have been secured from the African Development Bank. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Member for Bahati.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, greetings to you from the people of Bahati. Madam Speaker, I must report here that it is raining in Bahati. We do not have this prolonged dry spell. It's for this reason, Madam Speaker, to asking the Minister of Agriculture to give us more inputs. Back to the question. Madam Speaker, the project at Mombotuta is quite historical, like Honorable Chonde put it. The first feasibility report was done in 1929, pre-colonial. Then the other one, which was funded by ZESCO, was done in 1977. And the recent one was done in 2021 by a company called EDF and GIBBS. Madam Speaker, it's true that the Luapula River has got 5 sites, and the project sponsors in this case, who's SNEL and ZESCO, have opted to start with the Mombotuta because it's economically viable and it's one of the best sites on the Luapula. Madam Speaker, this site has a potential of about 271 megawatts. The minister is nodding. But all in all, the 5 sites have a capacity of about 1,188. And this, Madam Speaker, if they are developed, will end load shedding in this country. Madam Speaker, the recommendations by the recent report was that ZESCO and SNEL, including South African Power Pool, who are the project sponsors, should come up with the full detailed feasibility study where, technical designs will be included, the cost, and the bidding, the tender bidding document will be prepared. So the question, Madam Speaker, is that when it comes to financing, NEPAD, a cooperating partner called NEPAD IPPF, NEPAD Infrastructure Project Preparation Facility, has come on board, and they've brought on board $1.4 million. Because the whole cost of this feasibility study is $2.4 million. So NEPAD has brought $1.4 million. And there's a financier, who's Africa Development Bank, who's willing to also contribute about $570,000. ZESCO has been asked to contribute only $230,000 together with SNEL. So my question to the minister is that, have we paid our $230,000 contribution to this project? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister, Acting Minister of Energy.
And I thank the Honorable Member for the follow-up question. The development of the hydroelectric schemes on the Luapula River is something that is so essential for this country because of, among other things, climate change. We recognize that the Luapula River is fed differently. So when we have drought this side of the country, as he says, there's a lot of rain on the other side. So in order to diversify our sources of supply, it is absolutely necessary that development of hydroelectric schemes up to the full potential, if possible, over 2,000 megawatts, that is put in place. So over the years, those of us who have been involved in this industry have always considered Luapula River as essential to the development of the power in this country. Now, the answers I've given indicate the steps that are being taken, the funds that are being provided for the feasibility studies, and of course the total cost. Now, when he's talking about a small amount that ZESCO is supposed to provide, whether this has been paid or not, he can follow us, so we give him more details. I don't want to make a statement here that may not be entirely correct, but it's a simple answer to, it's a simple question to answer. But we can do that outside the meeting if he would care to consult us. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kawambo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, information provided by the Minister here is for public consumption. So everybody here and Zambians out there would really like to know, to have the answer that the Minister wants to go and provide to the Honorable MP for Bahati outside this House. We all must know that information. Fast forward, Madam Speaker, my substantive question to the Honorable Minister is, what is the schedule and what are the timelines for the establishment of the Luapula River Authority? Because no matter what happens, money might be mobilized, feasibility studies undertaken, but if the establishment of the Luapula River Authority does not happen, all these efforts will be in vain. What are the timelines? When do we envisage this Luapula hydropower to be created so that it can start operating and fast-track the development of the Luapula hydro potential of the Luapula River. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With respect to his first comment as to whether ZESCO had paid that, maybe the original member of parliament who asked the question can put in a question, who come and answer it, if indeed it must be answered on the floor of this House. We can do that. In terms of the establishment of the Luapula River Authority, I've stated that an intergovernmental memorandum of understanding between the two nations, which was signed in 2015 and renewed in 2022, that is already in place. Now, with respect to the timelines for the completion of the establishment of Luapula River Authority, our experience, Madam Speaker, is when you are dealing with matters that involves two countries, you are at the mercy of what the other government, what the other nation is also doing. Okay, so you cannot, as a party to the discussions, stand here and say, this is the timeline, we are going to complete like that. We have experience in this because right now we are dealing with one such authority, which is the Kazungura Bridge Authority between Botswana and Zambia. So we know some of the steps that need to be taken before we can complete those things. When the timeline is known, after discussions with our counterparts in the DRC, that information can be made available. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Milenge.
Thank you very much. Minister, thank you for your answers. And as a resident of the area, this project, we have a by-election in that area, and this is the most frequent asked questions. The communities there are apprehensive. They really want to know what is happening. They've heard of other falls being developed. Now, coming to the question, I have financial fears, especially where Zambia is concerned. Is government considering to offload this project to independent power producers who are ready, like yesterday, as an option? I just want to comment on that one. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If the Honourable Member is aware of independent power producers who are willing or offering to take up this project, those can always come to the fore. As he knows and the House knows, this government is pro-private sector. And if it can save money from government, we would welcome that. It's not, this is not the only project where we welcome the private sector. The Honourable Member he knows that even in terms of bridge construction, road construction, the Mwenda Kasomene Road is being done by private sector. However, this particular one is already, in terms of the feasibility study, is already being funded by the African Development Bank. But if there are private sector players willing to participate, then we have systems in government where they can be brought on board. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. We make progress. The next question, the Honourable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you once more, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, question number 172. I'm grateful.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, good afternoon. Good to see you again, and good afternoon, members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, Mr. Chisanga of Lukasha is asking the Minister of Health when the construction of health centers in the following wards in Lukasha parliamentary constituency will resume: Chiba, Kapumaula, and Musowa. B, what has caused the delay in completing the projects? And C, what the estimated time frame for the completion of the projects is. A response. Madam Speaker, it is the desire of government to construct health centers in all need areas of our country, including the 3 named wards. However, due to limited physical space, in some cases, construction is being implemented in a phased approach. Notwithstanding, construction is taking place in Lukasha constituency with the following. In Chiba Ward, Madam Speaker, Chilubamnama Rural Health Post is being constructed under the Constituency Development Fund. As you may be aware, Madam Speaker, for a health post to be cleared for operations, it must satisfy the following: the outpatient department, the ablution block, water facilities, incinerator, and a staff house or houses. Currently, only the OPD has been completed. Regarding Kupumaula Ward, government has planned for the construction of a maternity annex at Chisanga Urban Health Center under the Ministry of Health 2023 to 2024 Infrastructure Operational Plan. The procurement process for construction will begin in the first quarter of 2024. Madam Speaker, in Musowa Ward, construction of a staff house has been completed under CDF at Chilufya Health Center. B, Madam Speaker, question B falls off as stated in part A of the question. The government has not yet begun any new projects in respect of construction of health centers in the 3 wards. As regards to question C, Madam Speaker, the estimated time for completion of construction of the maternity annex at Chisanga Urban Health Center will be known once the contract has been awarded to the contractor. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, these 3 sites have identified protesting. Thank you, Madam Speaker. These 3 sites have identified were previously earmarked for construction of mini hospitals. I just want to find out from government if the idea to construct mini hospitals on these identified sites has now been abandoned and replaced with smaller health facilities. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, I'm not very sure of this question because the question is asking is whether, actually saying that initially in these 3 wards in his constituency, all these wards were supposed to have mini hospitals. I think that was the initial plan, you're saying? Is that correct? Madam Speaker, I think I did allude to the members of this House early 2022 that the plans of the past are not the plans of this government, and that what we are doing as government is to ensure that the whole country is covered with provision of health service in an equitable manner. So I did indicate that if there was plans in the previous administration where they had promised that they would construct a hospital, whatever be it, these are not our plans, and that we have plans, and the plans that we have are articulated in the budgets. But suffice to say, it is our intention to make sure that all districts, or indeed all wards, should be able to deliver health services. But as you know, there's always restrictions when it comes to budget allocation, and we have advised members of parliament that try to budget through the CDF. That's why those resources have been given, so that the whole nation has equitable projects. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lukasha, do you have any other question?
Madam Speaker, maybe just make an earnest plea. One of the three wards, Madam Minister, is located about 120 kilometers from Kasama, and it's inaccessible for a great part of the rainy season. Would government be considering at least an exclusive construction of a mini hospital, at least in Musowa ward, which is very far from Kasama? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the current budget does have construction of hospitals and health centers. We don't specifically do mini hospitals per se. What we are doing now is we're encouraging quality modern clinics. And so if the Honourable Member of Parliament thinks that it is a priority, they must budget for that first, they themselves, and then we can work together to see that that facility is completed. I take note that, in fact, from the answer I've given, we have as government identified one of the wards, to construct a modern clinic. And therefore, I don't know, because we cannot construct, for example, 3 clinics in one constituency, because we have to take account of all the wards in the country. So if we give you one clinic, for example, from the budget, it means we have to find another district that we must give another clinic. But if you yourself as a member of parliament feels that you need more than one, it's always important and necessary that you try to prioritize within the resources that you have under CDF. Then as government, particularly as Minister of Health, we will see that these are your priorities, and we'll try and work with you to ensure that those are completed and are operationalized. That would be my response, Madam Speaker. But please, you can come, we can sit, and let's see what we can do within our general framework. Maybe you can advise what your priorities are, and we can see, because I take note, Madam Speaker, that his constituency is very large. And this is the problem we have in this country. Some wards are bigger than some districts, just a ward. And then you find that the people there are not being serviced. So to that extent, Madam Speaker, I would like to say that, Member of Parliament, let's come and sit and see how best we can serve our people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, we leave it to the Honourable Member for Lukasha and the Honourable Minister to discuss and see what will be workable under the circumstances. The next question, the Honourable Member for Lufubu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Happy New Year to you, Madam Speaker. Question 173.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to everyone. Her Honor, the Vice President.
In response to the question asked by Mr. Kolala, Honorable Member for Lufubu, who wants to know whether the government has any plans to relocate the country's capital city from Lusaka, which he says is very congested, to Ngabwe district. And he says, if so, when the plan will be implemented, and see if there are no such plans, and he says why. Madam Speaker, in response, I wish to inform this august House that A, government has no immediate plans to relocate the country's capital city from Lusaka to Ngabwe district. B, there are no such plans at the moment. C, the relocation of the country's capital city is an expensive undertaking, Madam Speaker, that requires careful consideration. Given the obtaining constrained economic environment, relocation of the capital seat from the current location has not yet been considered. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? Honorable Member for Lufubu. I wanted to say Ngabwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I also wish our mom, the Vice President, a Happy New Year. Madam Speaker, looking at Lusaka now, when you look at the problems you are going through and the costs attached to whatever is going through here in Lusaka, you talk of cholera, you talk of floods, whatever we can talk about, when you look at the costs attached to it, I thought it was going to be prudent for the government now to be looking at alternatives. And Ngabwe being the alternative place, looking at how the place is, it fits. And I think we all know that even before it was once considered. Madam Vice President, why are we not looking at this to be a solution for whatever problems we are going through right now? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Her Honor, the Vice President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There are two things the Honorable talks about. How he picks on Ngabwe is just because he comes from there. So the decision, if there was a decision, Madam, to relocate, people will have to do a feasibility and see how Ngabwe becomes more suitable than any other place in the country. Two, yes, there is congestion. He talks of the issues of cholera. We actually, as government, are planning on how we can improve rather than shift the entire capital, because that would mean starting all over again to have all infrastructure that relate to central government in particular. That is extremely expensive. But we have a program that we are calling urban renewal that is looking at these, most of these unplanned settlements in Lusaka to see how we can work with the people, modernize the areas, give sewer lines, drainage systems, and ensure that people can have access to water, clean water. This is the program we can look at. It's not as expensive as shifting everybody to another place. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Lufubu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Vice President, don't you think it would be a double benefit? Using that money you want to modernize Lusaka, which is already a problem, to use that money into a new place and have at least two cities at the same time. Looking at Lusaka, I'm sure Lusaka, when you look at the history, where Lusaka is sitting, I'm told it was a stream. I've tried to check on that one. It was a stream all the way going to Ngwerere. And this is why we have all these problems. And for us to deal with those problems, the cost might be almost to the same cost moving, the capital city to Ngabwe district. Thank you.
The Honorable Member is making a case. Honor the Vice President.
Thank you. I don't believe that the entire city was sitting on some stream the Honorable is talking about. From what I hear when he talks of Ungwelele, he's probably talking of Ungwelele River, and that is true. I have not stated, Madam Speaker, that we can never think of that. But I think it is important to listen to the last part of my first response, that this is a very expensive venture to start on. The honorable member, maybe he has done some feasibility and the costing of the issue, but really you can't say renewing the unplanned settlement would be equal, the cost would be equal to starting a city. And it's a new city, yeah, and you start it as a new city, and in Ngabwe for that matter. I think the Honorable is asking for Ngabwe, which is a district where we need to expand and give it some, infrastructure that is suitable for a district. I think that's what the Honorable should be thinking about right now. I think that is my piece of advice. But since he is very passionate, maybe he also is comparing the cost. Maybe he has done something which he can come in private and give me, this is the cost of a new city, and this is the cost of urban renewal for Lusaka. Thank you.
I hope he has found land for Parliament as well. The last question will be from the Honorable Member from Mbabala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Happy New Year to you. Greetings from the good people of Mbabala. Madam Speaker, I wanted to ask the Honorable Vice President, what would be the starting point or baseline for such a decision to relocate to Ngabwe? Thank you.
Honorable Vice President.
It is difficult. I'm not in architectural works or engineering. Basically, you do feasibility. You have to see whether Lusaka cannot be improved in the manner it is. And then you see which area are you going to? What reasons are you going to give to say we must do another city in this place? Before you even start thinking of, indeed, what would be the cost of such. So there are many, it's a process. You can't just say, we will make a city. He referred to something that was pronounced, I think, before. He said it started. That was a pronouncement by a minister. Ministers sometimes stand here and they say, we are going to do this. If you go back to the pronouncement of a former minister who was a minister of national planning, that was actually what he said was, as a ministry, we are planning. We will take it to cabinet. So it was not a cabinet decision. It was not government decision. It was a dream of a minister. It is not something that you find on the books. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much. I think we can leave that question. We've exhausted it. We make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Kapoche.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 174.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Lungu, the MP for Kapoche, is asking the Minister of Water Development the following question. A, when the government will rehabilitate the following dams in Kapoche parliamentary constituency? 1, Chikalaba, 2, Misaela, 3, Mulela, 4, Chausa, number 5, Chindero, number 6, Mpapeni, number 7, Mkanda, number 8, Dwangwa, and number 9, Kaole. B, whether the government has any plans to construct additional dams in the constituency. C, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in our response to the question asked by Mr. Lungu, the Member of Parliament for Kapoche constituency, I wish to inform this August House as follows. A, government has plans to rehabilitate dams countrywide after the inventory of dams, which includes Kapoche parliamentary constituency. The dams will be rehabilitated after the feasibility studies are undertaken to ascertain the viability and cost of rehabilitation.
Order, honorable members. That laughter, please, let's listen to the answers. Otherwise, we'll ask you to be the rainmaker. May the honorable minister continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I was saying, the dams will be rehabilitated after the feasibility studies are undertaken to ascertain the viability and cost of rehabilitation, as well as when funds are made available. B, Madam Speaker, yes, government has plans to construct additional dams in Kapoche parliamentary constituency, as well as in other parts of the country. The ministry has already identified 4 potential sites for the construction of new dams in Kapoche parliamentary constituency. The potential sites are Chataika, Chatuluka, Chikalawa, and Maela. Feasibility studies will be undertaken once funds are available in order to determine the suitability and cost of construction. C, the construction of additional dams in Kapoche parliamentary constituency will be determined by the outcome of the feasibility studies, which will establish the suitability and cost of dam construction. The construction will be done once feasibility studies are concluded and when funds are made available. And D, Madam Speaker, as already indicated under B above, government has plans to construct additional dams, not only in Kapoche parliamentary constituency, but across the country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? Honorable Member for Kapoche.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, the Minister, for your good answers. Minister, if you are to look at the numbers of the dams that needs to be rehabilitated, the number is quite huge. And you must know that people of Kapoche love animals. And these animals, they are dependent when to have water. They depend on the boreholes where people are drawing water. And if the government will not do anything about these dams, I can rest assure you that almost all the animals in Kapoche will die, especially now that the rain pattern is not favoring us. Again, people of Kapoche, they are farmers, such that if these dams can be rehabilitated or constructed, the current weather, where we are lacking rains, these people can be able to draw water from these dams. They can plant like crops like rice. They can plant like wheat, which can offset the hunger situation which is roaming around our country. Already the Eastern Province is one of the provinces which is heavily affected. In your submission, you have mentioned that you have plans despite the government not having monies. Don't you consider as government to contact the organization like ADB to lobby so that the wishes of the people of Kapoche can be actualized as soon as possible? I submit, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sorry that I didn't hear the name of the organization he mentioned. He had gone a bit low on that.
He was saying, the honorable member was referring to African Development Bank, ADB.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I take note of the concerns of the Member of Parliament for Kapoche and to the effect that the people of Kapoche constituency are farmers. Most of them are farmers, and also that a good number of them are into cattle and other animals. They rear cattle and other animals. And as government, it is our wish, it is our desire to ensure that we provide dams, we harvest water in many parts of the country as a response to the effects of climate change, so that people can have water in various parts of the country for livestock watering, as well as irrigation and other use. So we are, like indicated, we are going to undertake feasibility studies. We were undertaking some inventory, Madam Speaker, to just take stock of how many dams we have and how many are functional, and those that are non-functional. We need to now undertake a feasibility study to assess what will be required to be done, and those that, to also check those that can be repaired and those that we think will not be repaired, so that we can decommission them and move to other plans. So, like indicated, other than repairing those dams, Madam Speaker, we have plans to construct more dams. We also have plans to ensure that we encourage members of parliament to also build small dams under CDF, and very soon I'll be coming to the House to indicate measures we are putting in place to promote dam construction at constituency level. So we are discussing with WAMA, which gives a permit for water harvesting, to see which areas we can change to just permit or allow a robust response to climate change, by way of allowing as many stakeholders in our country to construct small dams which can help in terms of livestock watering, but to some extent also for irrigation. So we are alive to your concern in Kapoche constituency, as well as the various constituencies across the country. As regards the issue of approaching institutions like the African Development Bank, I'm happy to say that not too long ago, the president of the African Development Bank was in the country, and various ministers had an engagement with the bank, and my ministry also has had engagements with the bank to see how we can secure some assistance for the construction of more dams. So such discussions are already taking place, and it would be premature for me to announce the details of what we have discussed and how the discussions have gone. But suffice to say that we are already engaging. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Chirubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to find out from the Minister, given the scenario that the three agroecological zones in the country are facing different patterns in terms of climate. I know that the Minister did talk about water harvest, and I think Kapoche and the 9 areas mentioned fall under the number 2 agroecological zone. Are you having any technology away from dam construction to harvest both surface water as well as groundwater?
Order, as the time is 16:40, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Thank you very much for watching Parliament Television. The House has gone on a 20-minute health break. Business will resume at 17 hours. We have a look at what has been discussed on the floor of the House so far.
And just before the suspension of business, the House was considering question 174, which was asked by Mr. El Lungu, Kapoche, a Member of Parliament, and this question was directed to the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. The member wanted to find out when the government will rehabilitate the following dams in Kapoche parliamentary constituency, and it was Chilubi, Member of Parliament, who has just finished asking a follow-up question to the Minister. Pauline, when business resumed at 14:30, Madam Speaker did make one announcement, and let's just look at the details of that announcement.
Yes, this announcement, the Honourable Madam Speaker announced to the House that following the ongoing cholera pandemic in the country, the Minister of Health has advised members of Parliament and members of staff, as well as visitors to Parliament buildings, to observe the following guidelines as the House reconvenes for the second meeting of the third session of the 13th National Assembly. And these guidelines observe strict adherence to hygiene measures and others present.
Yes, and one of the measures was observe a strict adherence to hygiene measures, like she mentioned, avoid overcrowding, avoid handshakes, seek immediate medical attention for any illness observed, and those with a cough or flu should be masked to cover their nose and mouth. And the foregoing measures are meant to control cholera and other waterborne diseases, as well as COVID-19 and other respiratory diseases. So that's the announcement that Madam Speaker made earlier in the day.
And of course, the Honourable Madam Speaker, the Honourable Vice President rather, did also indicate business of the House for the next few weeks when the House will be sitting, and this includes the business of the House for this session includes announcements which will be made when need arises. Then there will be rulings if need be, ministerial statements, private members' motions, and parliamentary committee reports will also be considered, as well as questions for oral answer. So those are some of the items that will be considered during the sitting of the House this session.
Well, it's also worth mentioning that according to the announcement that Madam Leader of Government Business made earlier in the day, on the 21st of February 2024, Mr. Emmanuel Jeje Banda, who is Petauke Member of Parliament, is expected to move a motion, increase the quantity of farming inputs for farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program, and this one is expected to be considered on the 21st of February 2024. We also have some parliamentary reports that are expected to be considered on the floor of the House.
Yes, opposite business will continue at 17 hours. For now, we take a short break.
Well, Twambo is 38 years old. I'm a married man. I'm the Member of Parliament for Itestezi. I'm a first-timer. By profession, I'm a teacher and a development worker. I've also worked for various international organizations, and I'm a youth and women's rights activist. I was born in Lusaka, but I started my grade 1 in Kalomo at Green Acres Basic School. Then from Kalomo Green Acres Basic School, I moved to Kalomo Secondary School, where I completed my grade 12, and went to Nkrumah University, where I did a course in teaching, that's a diploma in teaching. Then from there, I moved to the University of Zambia, where I did a bachelor's degree in adult education. And lastly, I went for my master's degree, that is in development studies at University of Lusaka. I love socializing, and I'm also a sports person. I love playing volleyball, I love watching soccer, and I'm just a social human being who likes interacting with people out there. So during my free time, I'm comfortable meeting with friends, talking to friends, and creating that kind of interaction, because I know networks are created through such kind of interactions. From my childhood, I've been a political human being. when I was at Nkrumah, I was part of unionism. When I was at University of Zambia, I was a campaign manager for one of the union presidents. And throughout my life, I've always believed that I can always serve people. And I think in my previous experiences, people were able to identify my potential. But the most important thing, perhaps, that prompted me to go for political office and abandon the NGO work that I was doing. When I left teaching, I joined the NGO world. And the NGO world, I think it taught me how to step out of the classroom and be able to work for the people in a community setup. And I felt that politics was the space where I was going to represent the people in masses, where I was going to speak for the people who are voiceless, where I was going to help to fight inequality, because I'm a strong believer of equality. So I felt that political space was the space where I was going to be, because I know that there are a lot of people out there who can speak for themselves, but they need a voice that is going to do that. And when I looked at the political space, it is the place where I grew up, the place whose geography I understand, whose challenges I understand, whose people I understand. I thought I could have been the right person to represent the people of ETSS. To be honest, in the previous years, the type of leadership that we used to have, I have to be honest, was not satisfying to me. And I thought I was going to be a solution in bringing about quality leadership, a leadership that would be representative in nature, a leadership that will be fearless, and a leadership that understands the challenges of the people. So I thought I was equal to the task. Being a member of parliament, I've got very specific and defined functions. And these are the functions that perhaps the people out there might not be able to understand. That mine is legislative, I'm a lawmaker. And mine is representative, I need to represent the views of the people. Now, having a deep understanding on what the people of ETSS face, what challenges they face, I've got very specific aspirations and dreams that I strongly feel 5 years down the line, God willing, I should be able to actualize these things and the people of ETSS should see that much desired change. I want to mention that I'm a product of women support, and I'm also a product of the support from the youths. So these two groupings, they are very key in terms of ensuring that their aspirations are met. Now, ETSS is a rural district, is a rural constituency, a lot of challenges. First of all, one of the things I want to bring is to increase the participation of civil society organizations, community-based organizations, and also international organizations to come on board and help bridge the gap which government fails to satisfy. That is one of my aspirations, because a lot of social issues that are happening there, issues around unwanted pregnancies, issues around unsafe abortion, issues around maternal health, and issues around youth participation, they need other players to come on board. And my role is to lobby. I want to bring this on board so that where government doesn't reach, these other players will come on board. In the social services, the people of ETSS, they do not have a hospital. I was arguing in the House that ETSS has no hospital. The definition of a hospital is not what the population of over 70,000 deserves. I want to see that we've got a first-class hospital that will have all the essentials, a theater, a laboratory, eye clinic, and everything that a rural district deserves. I want to ensure to have a hospital and a lot of other rural health facilities. I'll give you an example of Mbira, Makunku, and Mbira Makunku. These rural health centers, as I speak now, they are cut off from the mainland. These are some of the rural health centers that I want to see that they are upgraded, and also we have a district hospital, because I understand that health is key. Apart from the health sector, I'm also looking at the road sector. We have had a bad share in the national cake, because from the time in Kaunda era, that's the last time that the people of ETSS had a road. We are working around the clock to ensure that I lobby that the people of ETSS have a road which is D769, the one coming from Mumba, coming down to ETSS, because ETSS is a hive of activity. There is tourism there, there is agriculture, there are issues to do with a bit of mining. There is a crop agriculture is very prominent in ETSS. It's a food basket. Now, all these people, they are compounded by the challenges of lot. In ETSS, we generate power. There is a power generation, ITPC, ETSS Power Corporation. We generate about we generate a reasonable amount of power to the national grid. Now, look at the kind of a road that we have in such a place where there's a lot of potential. As I speak, the tourists, they shun ETSS. A lot of investors, they shun it. Even NGOs are now shunning it because of the quality of the road. And a lot of young entrepreneurs who are in transport business, a lot of bus owners, they are not free to do the business because of the quality of the road. So for me, I feel that the moment we open up this road, D769, it will open up a lot of economic opportunities, a lot of social opportunities, and it will make business easier, and it will also make it more attractive to the people out there. The other area that is very passionate to me is the area of education. I'm a teacher, I'm an educationist. I strongly feel we need to have quality education system in the district. Currently, we only have one boarding school, which was not even complete. Some of the facilities like the water treatment and the other facilities were not complete by the people that were doing the road. It was funded by government. Now, when you look out there, we've got a larger, younger population. The demand for school is very high. And I'm working around the clock to see to it that with our other stakeholders, we also upgrade the other new secondary schools which are in the outskirts, so that those new secondary schools can also be able to provide boarding facilities, and those learners they benefit from CDF. And we also fight some of the vices like teenage pregnancies that as a result of young people coming from their villages, renting in communities, and people they take advantage of some of the challenges they face. The last one amongst the key priorities is issues around the young people and the women. We don't have a youth skills center in HSS, and you know that CDF has come. Young people should participate in the value chain of the CDF. They can only participate if they've got skills. We don't have companies, we don't have industries in HSS apart from the fishing, which is competitive, which is political in nature, with a lot of stringent laws. So what can unlock the potential of HSS is having a youth skills center, human capital. I want the young people of HSS to go for bricklaying, to go for carpentry, and I don't want them to go and do it in Kaoma, in Kab. We don't want to export our money. We need, within the 2 years, within a space of 1 year, build our own youth skills center, be able to put equipment. The young people from within the communities access it, they develop their skills, they own companies, they start to generate their own income. The district also starts money trickling in the district. People from the villages come in town, people build houses, other people rent there. Unfortunately, the current situation, a lot of young people might not access the youth skills center because they will not go to Kaoma. Those between the age of 24 to 35 who are supposed to benefit, they might not manage to leave their wives, they might not manage to leave their husbands. It's a social issue. So our desire is that we build our own youth skills center that is going to unlock the potential of HSS, because the only industry which is there is fishing, and fishing has become competitive. The local people are not accessing the fish. The pricing for fishing is very high. Women are now being taken advantage of in the process of being part of the value chain for fish purchase. The industry is not giving the benefits to the people. So we need to look outside the box and ensure that we now go the youth way by capacity building the youths, capacity building the women, so that they can also participate in the space of the economy of HSS. Maybe the last one I would want to comment, Naza, is the issue around the tourism potential of HSS. The tourism potential of HSS has never been tapped for a long time. All of you know that HSS is a tourist town, but you have very little understanding. I will tell you that we've got the best animals around there. Just a stone throw from the township of HSS, you are in the game park, you see lions, you see impalas. Just a walk to the lake, you see crocodiles. Everything is there. In HSS, there are about 20 lodges along the lake. These lodges, they are very few. People have got very few information about what they can offer. These are beautiful, high-class lodges that can bring a lot of money to contribute to the GDP of this country, that can employ a lot of young people, that can make HSS's economy unlock. But very few is said about them. The tourists who go to Livingston, they are supposed to create a connection. It says the Livingston package, so that those who come from Livingston, they end up in it. Those who come to say they go to Livingston, they are doing the Mwezi Road. But all this is not known. So mine is to sell the district. Mine is to engage investors. As I speak now, I'm talking to all the lodge owners. We find means of coming up with local tourism initiatives. I'm also trying to understand what challenges they are facing, so that we work with the Ministry of Tourism, so that we see how their business can thrive and be able to move forward.
Crisosta Halwindi Piri, Member of Parliament for Kabwe Central Constituency, born in a village called Ihakwambwa, and that is the village Chiwabala. I was born in 1971. I mean, I'm now 51 years old. That's my actual age. So I did my primary school there, and later on I went to a high school called St. Joseph's Secondary School in Monze. And when I graduated and finished my grade 12, I went for nursing school. I trained at UTH as a registered nurse and got a diploma in nursing. And when I was there, I performed very well. I got actually, if I can remember, 3 awards. From there, the minister by then, who was Mr. Michael Sata, was very happy with my performance, with the awards that I got, and I was asked, well, where do you want to be posted? And I chose Central Province. I had never been to Central Province by that time, and I was posted to Kabwe General Hospital by that time. So I just served the government there for 3 years. Then I decided to go on voluntary separation. That was in 1999. So from that time, I joined the private life, where I started doing business, opened my own companies, and did several trainings, because I decided even to take more challenging job as a contractor. So I trained under National Council for Construction in various fields. I've got several certificates. Then because I diversified and I wanted to make sure that what I was doing is perfect in the business, I decided to do a degree in business administration and entrepreneurship, of which I got an award, the bachelor's degree, business administration and entrepreneurship from Rungushi University. Then I also proceeded to start my master's, of which I'm yet to finish. So I'm just remaining to write the exams in the same field, business administration and entrepreneurship. So I'm married with 5 children. I'm married to Mr. Godwin Piri, and I've got 5 children. I've got 3.
Well, thank you so much for still being with us on Parliament Television. Shortly, business resumes, and at the time business was suspended for that 20 minutes health break. The House was considering question 174, which was posed by Mr. El Lungu Kapoche, Member of Parliament, and this question was directed to the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, and it was Chilovi, Member of Parliament, who has just finished responding to asking a follow-up question to the Minister of Water Development. And when business resumes, the Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation will be able to respond.
Yes, President, and earlier on there was an announcement by the Honorable Madam Speaker, and she announced to the House that following the ongoing cholera pandemic in the country, the Minister of Health has advised members of Parliament, staff and visitors to Parliament to observe some guidelines as the House reconvenes for the second meeting of the 3rd session of the 13th National Assembly.
And some of the guidelines are: 1. Observe strict adherence to hygiene measures, avoid overcrowding, avoid handshakes, seek immediate medical attention for any illness observed, and those with a cough or flu should be masked to cover their nose and mouth. The foregoing measures are meant to control cholera and other waterborne diseases, as well as the COVID-19 and other respiratory diseases.
And there was another announcement. This was by Her Honor the Vice President, announcing to the House business that is expected to be considered during this sitting, the legislative sitting of the 13th, the 3rd session of the 13th National Assembly. And some of the items expected to be considered during this sitting will include announcements when there will be need, rulings if there will be any, ministerial statements, and private members' motions.
We also have a motion that will come on the 21st of February 2024, which will be presented by Mr. Emmanuel J. Banda. Increase the quantity of farming inputs for farmers under the Farm Support Input Support Program, and also have the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources We'll look at on the performance audit report of the Auditor General on the implementation of the Farmer Input Support Program 2018 to 2022, and this will be considered on the 15th of February 2024. We still have quite a number of questions yet to be considered on today's order paper, Polly.
Yes, just now we cross back to the floor.
What has happened to the whips? Whips, leaders, please, can we move? We want to finish.
To be formed, it is a requirement that 1/3 of the total number of members of parliament should be present for any house to begin on the floor of the house, and the whips have since gone to mobilize the members of parliament to come back, and business should resume shortly once a quorum has been constituted.
And just before the suspension of business, the House was considering question 174, which came from Mr. Eo Lungu, Kapocha Member of Parliament. It was directed to the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. He wanted to find out when the government will rehabilitate the following dams in Kapocha Parliamentary Constituency: Mpampeni, Mukanda, Dwanga, and Kalole, Chikalaba, Misele, Mulela, Chausa, Chidoro. And at the time business was suspended, it was Chilobi Member of Parliament who just finished asking a follow-up question to the minister. So the minister, once the quorum is constituted, you'll be able to respond to that follow-up question.
Yes, we still have a number of questions yet to be considered on the floor of the House, and one of the questions expected to be posed by a Member of Parliament from Mlovezi, Mr. Mabenga, and he wants to pose a question to the Minister of Health and wants to find out why Mlovezi district was allocated only 4 health posts under the 650 health posts project. And the second part of the question, he wants to know whether government has any plans to construct additional health posts in the district, and if so, when plans will be implemented, and if there are no plans, why.
Question 177 will come from Mr. Miyutu, Kalavo Central Member of Parliament, directing his question to the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. He would like to find out what products can be made at industrial level from the sand and water that are in abundance in Kalavo District.
And question 179 coming from Mutete Member of Parliament, Mr. Mishek Mutelo, wants to find out from the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development why the construction of Mitete Boarding Secondary School in Mitete District has stalled, and when the works will resume, and what the time frame for the completion of the project is.
Chairman North Member of Parliament, Mr. Mtachalo, will ask a Minister of Technology and Science whether the government is aware that over 800 former Zambia Postal Services workers who were retired or retrenched between the period 2016 to 2022 countrywide have been living destitute due to the non-payment of their terminal benefits. Seems like the quorum is constituted now. We cross over to the floor of the House for business to resume. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Can we settle down, honorable members? Order. When business was suspended, the House was considering question number 174 on the order paper asked by the honorable member for Kapoche, and the honorable member for Chilubi had just finished asking a supplementary question. The Honorable Minister of Water, Development and Sanitation may respond.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have sufficiently explained the government position in terms of dam construction. As to the question to do with the technology, if we have additional technology for harvesting water, I think I'll be going outside the question. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let's make progress. The next question will be asked by the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central by prior arrangement. We'll come back to the other questions later. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central. Apologies, I got you by surprise. But I said question number 177 as a leakage.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 177. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the question that has been asked to the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry is to what products can be made from the sand and water that are in abundance in Kalabo district by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kalabo. Madam Speaker, as you may be aware, sand can be used to produce products such as glass, concrete, and other products. The water that is available in the Western Province is and can be used for agriculture, fish farming, gardening, tourism, and many others. Madam Speaker, I wish to indicate that in the year 2014, the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, working together with the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission, by then when it was under the Ministry of Commerce, conducted a resource mapping exercise in order to identify value chains and clusters that could be prioritized throughout the country based on resource endowments of the area. On the basis of this, the following products, Madam Speaker, were deemed to be conducive for the Kalabo terrain in Western Province. With regards, Madam Speaker, to the abundant water resources available, the water supports, 1, aquaculture and the development of the processed, frozen and dried fish value chains, livestock herding and the development of the beef and leather value chains. In addition to the above, Madam Speaker, the sand coupled with water provides scenic sites and therefore tourism could be promoted in the area, including recreation activities such as beach football and beach volleyball, among others, to enhance recreational facilities in our country led by the province and the constituency itself in question. Madam Speaker, the Ministry continues to attract investors to invest in various sectors, including in Western Province, by ensuring that the full potential of the province's natural endowment. Our role as a government and ministry is to create a conducive business environment, which we have indeed provided for the business community, including Kalabo. You may wish to note that the ministry facilitated a provincial expo which attracted a number of investors, both within and outside the country. In this regard, Madam Speaker, we urge the private sector to come on board and exploit the investment potential that exists in the province. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Kalabo is satisfied. I see the neighbor there. Honorable Member for Luena, what interest do you have in water and sand? Oh, you also have water and sand. The Honorable Member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Minister, taking advantage of the extent to which you expanded the question in terms of identifying opportunities. One of the opportunities available in Western Province, also known as Barossa Land, is proximity to the ports in Namibia. Is your ministry considering investing in shell factories which can create job opportunities, especially for our young men and women, given the proximity to transport, the proximity and access to ports in Namibia? Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry.
Madam Speaker, I thank you, the Honourable Member from Western Province, for the question that he has posed before me. Madam Speaker, I should clearly mention that already the government, in succession, the Patriotic Front government, had established what we are calling industrial parks. Not everywhere else in the country, but the Western Province has been a beneficiary of that industrial park, which, in collaboration with the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, we are hoping to equip them for skill development for the youths in the area and other places. And as regard to the collaboration of business trade between Zambia and Namibia, we have engaged the Ministry of Infrastructure and other colleagues on how best we can enhance the border facilitation and the road network between Zambia and Namibia for ease of doing business. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you very much. We can make progress. There are no other supplementary questions. The next question, the Honourable Member for... Wow, what did this? So I have to go back. 175. The Honourable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 175.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Mr. Mabenga, MP from Mulobezi, is asking the Minister of Health, A, why Mulobezi district was allocated only 4 health posts under the 650 health post project. B, whether the government has any plans to construct additional health posts in the district. C, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, the House may wish to know that in the year 2012, from the total of 650 health posts planned to be constructed countrywide, government allocated Western Province 64 health posts. From the allocated 64, through consultations with the leadership, 4 health posts were allocated to Mulobezi district for construction. The allocation criteria included, among others, disease burden, population size, and size of the district. Madam Speaker, these 4 health posts have since been completed and are fully functional. Madam Speaker, on B, as to whether the government has any plans, government has plans to construct additional health posts in the district. C, the House may wish to note that the current focus of government is to construct ongoing projects such as the completion of the 36 district hospitals countrywide, 2, the completion of the construction of the health posts under the construction of 650 health posts countrywide, and 3, implementation of the Presidential Directive for constructing maternity wings at health centers across the country, including ensuring sanitation facilities, power sources, and provision of essential medicines in health centers and health posts countrywide, not forgetting staffing. As to question D, Madam Speaker, as stated earlier, government has plans to construct additional health posts. Therefore, part D of the question falls off. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to find out, Honorable Minister, whether this health post will be supported with transport. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister, supported with what? It appears it's not clear.
The health, Mulobezi is a very wide constituency, and from one clinic to another one will take almost 3-4 hours. So trying to find out whether an ambulance will be provided or transport will be provided to carry patients. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We don't provide transport for health posts, but we do provide transport for the district, which should be able to be used within each particular district. And when we see that a district is too large, such as the one in question, it is possible that such a ward can get more than one ambulance to cover the long distances between health posts and the referral hospital. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member from Sansala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for those answers. I just want to support my chairperson, and I wanted to find out if in those mini hospitals you have plans to increase the number of houses, because those mini hospitals, they are just coming with 4 houses, and the government is employing a lot of nurses and a lot of supporting staff. Are you in position, Minister, to tell this House that you are going to add some more houses to this infrastructure? I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, every health facility is supposed to have a minimal number of houses for staffing. But as to whether those numbers of houses should include every member of staff in that facility, that's a different story. I do not think at the moment it can be possible that in terms of health posts, we begin to construct houses for all the members of staff that work in that particular hospital, considering that we need to ensure that all the districts, in fact not districts, let me just say all the wards in the country, it is the desire of government to ensure that every ward has a health facility that is able to give the services that are required in that particular ward, so as also to shorten the numbers, the kilometers between the population and the health facility. Also, I think members of parliament now must begin to think outside the box. That is why we have made sure that government has given equal amounts of resources in the constituencies. That money is to help you to deal with such issues, you know, education, health, water. Those are the key issues that money is supposed to be used for. So try to use your resources, you know, in a manner that what you desire, especially basic things. These are now basics. A flat, detached houses for your health workers. Currently, every health post has only 2 houses attached to it. So we'll put up a health post, it will have 2 houses, and then that becomes operational. If you yourselves want to add more, you can do that, we'll still support that. But as to whether we will do that ourselves as government at the moment, it will take quite a long time, and I don't want to mislead you. Thank you.
The Honorable Member from Mulobezi, you are satisfied?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to find out whether there will be more nurses sent to Mulobezi, because at the moment we have got very few nurses. Thank you.
The issue of nurses now, is it related? And the Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, Madam Speaker, it is very possible that we can send some nurses to health posts and health centers, level 1 hospitals. This year, 2024, we have 4,000 health workers that we're supposed to employ. So yes, it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last question will be from the Honorable Member for Mandevu. I don't know what he's doing in Mulobezi.
Madam Speaker, with your indulgence, first of all, allow me to just welcome all the honorable members, especially Honorable Mandandi of Sioma, to Mandevu constituency, where your August House is situated. Noting that the government has plans to construct more health posts, I wanted to find out from the Honorable Minister, how many will these be and when will the construction start? I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, I'm not sure if I got his question right, but let me try. He's talking about when we'll start construction of houses around the health posts, or when we'll start the construction of health posts.
Maybe can repeat his question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Minister has indicated that, yes, government has got plans to construct more or additional health posts in Mulobezi. My question is, how many will these be additional, and when will the construction start? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
I do not want to mislead this House, except to say that in this year's budget, we have allocated resources for the construction of health posts, modern clinics, and level 1 hospitals. As to whether the number for Mulobezi, I wouldn't know. So maybe that would require me to check on the list in terms of the number. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We move the next question. The Honorable Member for Chasefo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, I bring fraternal greetings from the special people of Chasefo to you and the staff, and to all members of Parliament who are here. It's good to see everyone back. Madam Speaker, with leave of the House, I wish to withdraw the question as that it has been overtaken by events. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Leave of the House granted. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chama North.
Sorry, Madam Speaker. Question number 178. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, just to say, very soon we'll be engaging members of Parliament to deliver the wow effect regarding Starlink. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member for Chama asked the Minister a question in 3 parts. Whether government is aware that over 800 former Post workers who were retired or retrenched between the period 2016 to 2022 countrywide have been living in destitution due to non-payment of their terminal benefits. In B, if so, what measures are being taken to resolve the problem? And C, whether the government will pay terminal benefits to all former Post workers who have been retained on the payroll. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that, in A, government is aware that 698
former Zampost workers who were retired or retrenched between the period 2016 and 2022 countrywide are yet to be paid their terminal benefits. The delay in offsetting the dues was due to Zampost's weak financial position. Madam Speaker, it is government's policy to liquidate outstanding arrears owed to former workers, including former Zampost workers. Number B, to address this situation, the government has undertaken the following measures. 1, undertaken an assessment to establish the total amount due to the retirees and retrenched workers, which stands at 103.3 million kwacha. 2, continued paying eligible former workers their salaries in line with the provisions of the law. 3, engage the Treasury to support the liquidation of dues owed to Zampost retirees and retrenched workers with an amount of 100 million committed in the 2024 budget. In C, the government is committed to support Zampost management pay off the dues owed to former workers who have been retained on the payroll when the funds are released by Treasury. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honourable Member for Chama North.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for that response. Indeed, Honourable Madam Speaker, the former workers of Zampos have been going through a lot of challenges, and most of them have passed on because of the difficulties they are facing. Now, the Minister is saying that government is committed to ensure that salaries are being paid to these former workers. But I'm alive to the fact that is the Minister maybe aware that Zampost is producing pay slips which are not being given to the employees, but on top of that, they are not even getting their salaries. So why doesn't government move in quickly to ensure that these workers are paid their salaries, monthly salaries, so that because these outstanding salaries are building up the cost of the same. So are you aware that Zampos is not paying despite producing pay slips? So my question is that before you pay the retirement packages, is government going to pay these outstanding salaries and continue to pay monthly salaries while they are waiting to be paid their full terminal benefits? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Science and Technology. First of all, the Honourable Member for Chinsali, is it visiting time or? Please, if you can take your seat and chat or consult as you are seated. The Honourable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, I did state that the financial condition of Zampost is very weak. And we do know that they are behind in terms of paying the monthly salaries. And that is why we have engaged Treasury to find a complete and final solution to liquidate the terminal benefits, including unpaid salaries this year. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and indeed greetings from the good people of Ron constituency. Honourable Minister, I remember last year I did ask a question to our Honourable Vice President concerning the same issue of Zampost, former Zampost employees. And the answer was that your ministry had actually done the due diligence and head count, and that the necessary papers was passed on to Ministry of Finance for onward consideration to make payments. Now, Honourable Minister, you have stated that by law, these employees are supposed to be getting paid every month. Don't you think it's becoming costly? And the wage bill, or rather the package that you mentioned of over 1 billion, at the end of the day shall actually increase when you are paying salaries and at the end of the day come and pay the packages. Why haven't you entered into an agreement? You start paying Zampost former employees in batches so that if you are out of the 600, you pay the 100, you knock them off instead of maintaining them on the salary and yet increasing the amount that is going to be spent by government at the end of the day. Are you not thinking in those lines, Honorable Minister? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, we are thinking of a comprehensive solution, and that is why we have said we have engaged Treasury. Unfortunately, there is a provision in the 2024 budget of 100 million to be able to pay all the workers their terminal benefits, including unpaid salaries. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chairman North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, you have said that there is a provision in the 2024 national budget to liquidate these benefits for former Zampos workers. When is Treasury Department going to release these funds? Because the worry is that maybe funds may be released in December, November, but the workers need this money as quickly as possible. So when are you engaging the Minister of Finance so that this 100 million kwacha, which is in the budget, is released so that these workers can be paid their benefits and start a new life? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
As we have said, we have engaged the Ministry of Finance through Treasury, and they have made a commitment that by the end of the second quarter of this year, the payment will be made. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lubansishi.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Science and Technology. Honorable Minister, I followed you when you are responding to this interesting question. My question to you, Honorable Minister, can you assure the former employees of Zampost when the government is going to pay them so that they can clear their conscience? With your indulgence, Madam Speaker, I would like also to find out from the Minister what measures have you taken in place to ensure that even those who are still serving, they don't fall in the same problem. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, if the Honorable Member of Parliament for Lubansesh was listening, we have said there is commitment to pay by the end of the first quarter. As to the employees that are existing in Zampost, we are managing to pay their monthly salaries. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, what plans do you have to make sure that Zamte or Zampost is viable in terms of resources so that they are able to pay future retirees? Because currently it appears like Zambia is actually non-existent. What plans do you have? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, we are working on a comprehensive restructuring plan of Zampost, including support from the European Union through a Polish bank of $10 million. So Zampost will be restructured. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mukushi South. North. Mukushi North? South.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have indicated that you are going to pay the terminal benefits of these employees by the first quarter of this year. May you share with us which budget line you are going to use in order to settle those terminal benefits? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, we said by the end of the second quarter, not the first quarter. Correction. Number 2, the provision is under head 21. I thank you.
Thank you very much. We can make progress. The next question will be asked by the Honorable Member for Mitete.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 179.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Mitete, Honorable Mutelo, is asking the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development the following 3 questions. A, why the construction of Mitete Boarding Secondary School in Mitete District has stalled. B, when the works will resume. And C.
Sorry, Honorable Minister, there is an indication from the back. The Honorable Minister for Provincial Minister for Northern Province would like to raise a point of order. What's the point of order, Honorable Minister?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this rare privilege to rise on this very, very important point of order. I am basing my point of order on Standing Order number 206, dress code for members. Madam Speaker, I raise this point of order with a heavy heart. I am raising it on the Honorable Member for Chiengi. Madam Speaker, the standing orders are very clear. But our Honorable Member seems to be at the pulpit with church uniform. Honorable Madam Speaker, am I protected?
Oh, the Honorable Member for Chieng, can you allow the Honorable Provincial Minister to conclude?
Madam Speaker, the standing orders are very, very clear. I therefore seek your ruling on this one because I am now very confused. I don't know whether I am in church or I am in Parliament. Madam Speaker, I seek your serious ruling.
I see that the government chief whip is seated next to the Honorable Member for Chiengi. Can he please assist us on whether the Honorable Member is properly attired? And I leave that in his hands. May the Honorable Minister continue. May the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the last part of the question, the last part C, what the time frame for the completion of the project is. Our answer is as follows, Madam Speaker. A, construction of Mitete Boarding Secondary School has delayed due to inadequate funding. B, works will resume once the new contractor is procured to complete the outstanding works. And C, the time frame for the completion of the project is 18 months. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Mitete.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Minister, thank you so much. Minister, the new Dawn government currently is taking power for the very first time to Mitete. And pause are already put right where the boarding school is. When is this new contractor going to be contracted? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you to the Honourable Member for the follow-up question. It gives me an opportunity to give some more details. The Minister of Education earlier in 2013 engaged China Jiangxi to construct Mitete boarding school in Western Province. The project commenced on 24th August 2013 at a contract sum of 63.7 million kwacha. The project was at 25% completion at the time of abandonment, and the 22.3 million kwacha has so far been certified and paid to the contractor. The contractor failed to complete the works due to lack of funding. In 2024, funds have been provided for completion of outstanding works. I repeat, in 2024, funds have been provided for the completion of outstanding works. However, the contractor, China Jiangxi, has declined to continue with the project, citing challenges in accessing the site, among other reasons. The Ministry of Education has now commenced the process of retendering the works through limited bidding. Limited bidding, that is selective tender. It is anticipated that a new contractor will be procured within the second quarter of 2024, so that work on completing this vital secondary school can be completed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Namwala.
Madam Speaker, I think the question I wanted to ask was answered fully. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Mitete.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Minister, thank you. That funds have now been found. Madam Speaker, it's more than a decade. Project not finishing. A decade. And when building is constructed, not being used, a lot of other things will happen. Minister, this limited bidding, is it being done now in February? Is it going to be finished within February 2024? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, we could not be any more clearer than we have been. Yes, a decade passed from the time of beginning the project to now. But as he himself said, the New Dawn administration, the New Dawn government. We cannot be accountable for what happened in the past. We can be accountable for what happens during our time and going forward. We have sourced money. I think when we came in as the new administration, the Minister of Finance did make it very clear that we're going to look for funds to complete secondary schools throughout the land. With respect to this one, the complication is that the contractor who was on site declined to continue with the project. And therefore, the ministry is retendering. There is a process to procuring projects, government projects. So that's the process that is being followed. And I can assure the honorable member from Itete that the shortest route, or route as some people say, is limited tendering. If it was open, it would take much longer to go through the normal government procurement process. So we are all anxious that we complete the secondary school in Mitete. We know how vital it is. Let him continue to work with us to make sure that the process is done correctly and as quickly as possible. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Next question, the Honorable Member for Milanzi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 180.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy. Question number 180, the Honorable Acting Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, just 2 seconds to consult the leader of government business. Sincere apologies, Madam Speaker, but we have got our act together. The Honorable Madam Piri, Melisiana Piri, is asking the Minister of Energy when the following schools in Milanzi parliamentary constituency will be electrified under the rural electrification program. A, Katumba Primary, B, Kawaza Primary, C, Kakua Primary, D, Mbinga Primary, E, Matipa Primary, F, Katawa Primary, G, Chamiwawa Primary, H, Chimwa Primary, I, Ntipa Primary, J, Katiulu Secondary, and the K, Kampambe Secondary, and L, Umozi Secondary. The answer is as follows. Under the 2023 work plan and the budget, the government of the Republic of Zambia, through the Rural Electrification Authority, has set aside funds to electrify Kampambe Secondary School. Further, RIA plans to undertake feasibility studies for the rest of the above-mentioned schools to ascertain the scope of works and the cost estimates for electrification. The feasibility study activity is expected to be concluded by August 2023. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Milanzi. Do you have any? The honorable member for Milanzi is satisfied? She doesn't have a question? Okay, thank you very much. There are no indications for other supplementary questions. Please desist from promoting Umozi, whatever you were saying. Please, let's do it outside, not in the house. You know, these words have got repercussions. People out there are listening to us, and they will be wondering, what are we promoting? We are one Zambia, one nation. Forget about those issues. They are not within your preview. When a bill comes, we will discuss it. For now, we have no business on that, on the order paper. Her Honor, the Vice President, adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House? Is now adjourned.
Parliament Television, the House has adjourned to tomorrow at 14:30. And before we leave, a recap of what has been considered on the floor of the House when business resumed at 14:30.
There was an announcement by the Honorable Madam Speaker, in which she announced that the ongoing cholera pandemic in the country, the Minister of Health has advised members of Parliament, staff and visitors to the National Assembly to observe the following guidelines as the House reconvenes for the second meeting of the third session of the 13th National Assembly.
And one of them is to observe a strict adherence to hygiene measures, avoid overcrowding, avoid handshakes, seek immediate medical attention for any illness observed, and those with cough and flu should be must to cover their nose and mouth. The foregoing measures are meant to control cholera and other waterborne diseases, as well as the COVID-19 and other respiratory diseases. So that's the announcement that Madam Speaker made earlier in the day, and she did permit the Leader of Government Business, Her Honor the Vice President, to indicate business statement for the period 13th to 23rd February 2024.
And this, for the business to be considered this sitting, will include announcements, rulings, ministerial statements, private members' motions, parliamentary committee reports, and questions for oral answer amongst the many.
All right, and let's also look at the 15 questions for oral answer, understanding Order 74 that were considered on today's business. And we'll have just a few of those questions. We had question 166, which came from Mr. Kamondo Mufumba, Member of Parliament. And this question was directed to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. We wanted to find out what measures the government is taking to ensure easy acquisition of certificates of title in rural areas. The details of the responses from Minister Pauline.
Yes, the acting minister indicated that the government has taken the following measures to ensure that easy acquisition of deeds in rural areas, and these include promoting and ensuring efficient, cost-effective payment for issuance of certificates of title through the National Land Titling Program across the country, and that the program is aimed at a bulk production of certificates of titles and provides a relief to landowners as payment is staggered within 3 years.
And other measures is to intensify efforts through nationwide sensitization on registration of eligible properties across the country.
and the others are in line with the decentralization policy. The ministry will decentralize and operationalize the deeds registry in Chipata, Choma, Lusaka districts, while Sorezi and Kawe registries were gazetted awaiting operationalization.
The other question came from Mr. Francis Kapianga, who is in Pika, Member of Parliament, directed his question to the Minister of Energy. In this case, it was the acting minister who responded to this question, and that was the Minister of Infrastructure. And the member wanted to find out when the government will electrify the following schools in Mpika Parliamentary Constituency: Changalilo Day Secondary School, Katongo Kapala Primary School, and what the estimated cost of each project is, and see what the time frame for each project is. And according to the minister's response in A, he did say that the electrification of Changalilo Day Secondary School is planned for by government under the Rural Electrification Master Plan in the year 2029. However, RIA conducted a feasibility study for the electrification of Changalilo and surrounding areas in June 2023. The electrification could be done even earlier, subject to availability of funds. The scope involves construction of 30 kilometer of 33 kV and a total of 13 kilometer of 400 volts, with 95 estimated total number of initial connections.
The minister further indicated to the House that government, through the rural electrification, is scheduled to electrify Katongo Kapala Primary School in Mpika constituency in 2024, and the project is at procurement of contract award stage and is set for commencement in April 2024. He said that the scope of the project involves a construction of a 15.8 kilowatts or kilometers of 33 kilowatts of overhead line and a total of 7.4 kilometers of 400 kilowatts of volts, and once completed the project will attract 50 initial service connections.
On B, the member wanted to find out the estimated cost of each project, and according to the minister's response, he did say that the estimated cost of the electrification of Katongo Kapala is 6.9 million and 24.2 million for Changailo Day Secondary School and surrounding areas.
And the last part of the question, the honourable member wanted to find out the duration for each project, and the minister indicated that the electrification projects for Katongo Kapasa and Changalilo are both expected to last 7 months from the day of the contract award.
Following question 169 came from Cabo Central Member of Parliament, and this is Ms. Halwindi, and this question was directed to the Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts. The member wanted to find out whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate Venus Theatre Club in Kabwe District. If so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why? According to the minister's response, he did say that the area member of parliament, he did say that the ministry has no plans to rehabilitate Venus Theatre Club in Kabwe, as the facility in question is fully owned by Kabwe Municipal Council.
And the Minister of Tourism also did indicate to the House that the area member, brother, that the question that was posed or had been answered in that the facility is fully owned by Kabwe Municipal Council, and the ministry has no plans as such to implement the project. And in the C part of the question, the minister indicated that the answer had already been indicated, as the ministry had no plans to implement this project.
In Opla Province, Mr. Chonde, Member of Parliament for Milenge constituency, did pose a question, and this question was directed to the Minister of Energy. We wanted to find out whether the government has any plans to construct a hydropower station at Mumbotuta Falls in Milenge parliamentary constituency. If so, when the plans will be implemented and what the estimated cost of the project is, and how much power the station is estimated to generate when operationalized. Let's look at the details of the response from the Acting Minister of Energy.
Yes, the Acting Minister of Energy did indicate that the government of the Republic of Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo had intended to jointly develop the common hydropower stations on the Luapula River stretching from Mombotuta to Mambilima. And in the second part of the question, which is B, he said that the project is expected to commence in 2027 and expected to be commissioned in 2030. He did, however, indicate that this will be dependent on the establishment of the Luapula River Authority, whose implementation process is underway.
And the C part of the question, the member wanted to find out what the estimated cost of a project is, and the minister did respond that based on the feasibility study report, the Mombotuta project is estimated to cost 513 United States million to construct. And the C, the D part of the question, based on the feasibility study, the Mombotuta project is estimated to generate 271 megawatts of power. So those are some of the questions that were posed on during today's business. Pauline, it's been a great day. Looking forward to this meeting of Parliament.
Exactly. Yes, it will be again another interesting part to be following on Parliament television, as there will be a lot of issues that will be coming up during this legislative sitting of the House, which is expected to go on until probably the end of March. So we urge all of you to keep watching Parliament television as we bring to you Parliament closer to the people.
On behalf of our sign language interpreters, that's Chola Kaum and Jason Manda, and indeed the entire production.